Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth,
lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
Lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Lies, shenanigans. Truth, 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 lies, shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
Lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans.
Hey, my friends, this is Truth, Lies, Shenanigans, the live show for Sunday, October 25th, 2020. My name is Neo, and I'd like to welcome all of you to our deep, fun, and crazy show. Let me introduce you to our co-host for this afternoon. Opposite me, the show's tweeter, Miss Lizzie.
Twitter tweeter. Happy Sunday fun day, everyone. Catch this, get this dance. The Washington team is up on them Cowbamas. Woo woo!
Calbamas. And in the window below me, we have the man with the great clips, Mr. Rob B.
Happy Sunday fun day to everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day today.
For those that don't know, Rob B does our clips for the show.
Yes.
All right. For today's show, we have a truly special guest. Mayor Patrick Wojahn will be joining us, talking about the election, Trump, Biden, COVID, and the future of the Democratic Party. Then the mayor has agreed to stick around with us to join Lizzie's hot topic, Trump versus Biden, round 2. And Rob B shares how tribal Brazilians are using drones to save the planet. Don't forget, we are live everywhere. Our streams are on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and Twitter at TLS Live Show. And you can also watch us at truthlieshenanigans.com. Make sure you invite your friends to watch along with us live. And of course, we want your comments and questions as part of the show. And for today's show, we have our friend Gianni. Our production assistant will be popping in and out to read your comments and questions to the panel. Gianni, we got a packed show today, but next show, I think I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
What?
You don't know what that is, but we're going to put you on the hot seat so everyone gets to know you a little bit better.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good. All right, Gianni. We'll see you in a bit. All right. Now, if you miss our live show, or you don't have time to stick around with us live, you can now listen to previous episodes on iTunes and Spotify. And you can even ask Google, Alexa, or Siri to simply play Truth, Lies, Shenanigans podcast. All right, to start things off, I've got a quick fire question for my hosts. And I want to get your initial reactions just as quickly as you can. All right. So we had a final debate between Trump and Biden on Thursday, and this happened.
Nobody has done more for the black community than Donald Trump, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception, I'm the least racist person in this room.
Abraham Lincoln here is one of the most racist presidents we've had in modern history. He pours fuel on every single racist fire. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn.
Get him. Get him.
All right, so guys, with Abraham Lincoln over here, the least racist person in the room. Lizzie?
Hell no. The moderator is a black woman. Kristen Welker. And not to say that black people can't be racist,
I was
but
going to say, wait a minute.
She certainly is not, and he has to assume that a woman of color who is married to a white man, who is moderating this debate between two white potential presidents beyond November 3rd, is not racist. So why would he consider himself the least racist person in the room in front of Kristen Welker?
All right, Rob B., real quick.
He's probably one of the least racist people there, for sure, because at the end of the day, he only sees how much green you're packing. That's what he cares about.
That's a good point. I want to say, well, Biden got it right. So, but damn, it was cold what he said. Abraham Lincoln over here, that was cold. That was cold. I mean, I swear, I busted out laughing when I heard that.
But also too, very quickly, just also too, even in terms of presidents, I mean, we all know in terms of presidents, he falls at the bottom of the barrel. Let's talk about Barack Obama. Let's talk about Lyndon Johnson and the Civil Rights Act and Voting Act of 1965. Let's talk about Ulysses Grant and the 15th Amendment that gave everyone, regardless of color, the right to vote. But this Bama is saying he's the least racist person since Abe Lincoln. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Anyway, I just can't deal with this dude. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about what Truth, Lies, and Shenanigans is all about. And we've given you a little bit of a taste. We'll be sharing our truths and opinions with you, calling out the lies and pointing out those ridiculous shenanigans going on. But most importantly, on this show, we try to have some fun with shenanigans of our own. But we do have one rule for our hosts, not necessarily our guests, but definitely our hosts. If you're caught cussing, there is a $10 penalty. And if you guys are caught cussing 3 times in the same show, and our viewers will call you out, you will be writing a love letter to the clown himself.
He wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters.
Now, you can see here
Fell in love.
who has the foul mouth.
140, that's a lie.
No.
Where's Johnny?
Where do you want Gianni? You want Gianni?
We're going
You
to
got
have
Gianni.
who's cussing throughout shows as well, because that's a lie. That's a complete lie.
Looks like we got to give Gianni a
That's a lie.
refresh.
Thank you, Gianni.
All right. In a bit, Gianni. All right, so the cussing pot will go to a deserving charity immediately following the election, and then we'll reset our cussing pot because we'll have to do something else other than write a letter to Trump, because he'll have to be out of
True that.
office.
And remember, the Cussing Pot charity, again, it's all in-house. So it's to my, end of 2020 Chanel GoFundMe drive. So yeah, let's go. I'll essentially be paying myself, actually.
No. All right. It's time for our spotlight. And man, we have been getting some awesome guests lately, and today is no different.
Mm.
Today's spotlight is on Mayor Patrick Wojahn. Hey Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Good to see y'all. Good to
Hi.
be here.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
having me today.
Let me introduce Patrick to our audience. Patrick was born and raised in Wisconsin, received his law degree from Georgetown University, and has served as mayor of the city of College Park, Maryland since 2015 after serving 8 years on the city council. He also works as the director of government relations at Rails to Trails Conservancy. And in his career, he's worked as an advocate and champion for people with disabilities, people living with AIDS, environmental sustainability, the College Park Community Food Bank, and Equality Maryland, Maryland's LGBTQ civil rights organization. And as mayor, he worked with the University of Maryland to make College Park a top-tier college town. Believe me, you can't imagine how much College Park has progressed since 2015. My friend and the mayor, Patrick Wojahn. Thanks for joining us today.
Welcome.
Good to be here. Thanks, Neo. And perhaps more importantly, I'm actually Neo's neighbor. He lives just down the street from me, so I go by his house on a regular basis.
Literally
I know all
one
kinds
block
of embarrassing
away.
things about him. Yeah.
Hey.
So it's great to be here. I know you said that the no cussing rule doesn't apply to guests, but it does apply to me because I just found out that my parents are watching. So shout out to Karen and Dennis Boyan in Green Bay, and my sister, and also her 4 kids. So I can't cuss either. I'll get in trouble.
See you guys.
If I cuss.
Mayor, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure for me.
I know, right?
It is.
I'll keep it clean.
So I have to ask, how are you and your husband holding up through these COVID days? Are you guys surviving, struggling?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I mean, College Park, we've got a lot of challenges because we've got the university community here. Of course, the College Park is the home of the flagship campus of the University System of Maryland, the University of Maryland in College Park. And we've had a lot of challenges because when COVID hit, the student population basically disappeared. They all went scattered to the 4 winds. And because of that, it was pretty quiet for several months, but then they all came back in September. And we've been navigating how to do that safely, how to incorporate the student population safely back into the city. In terms of what we've been doing here, my husband and me, we've been working from home a lot, as most of us are, as so many of us are, and we've been doing a lot of carry out. As mayor, I feel it's my role to be Mr. Chamber of Commerce, as my husband Dave says, and pitching the restaurants that we still have open here. So every night when we order carry out, and we do it about 3 times a week, we post pictures of it to show what great food we have. I feel like I want to keep all my babies alive, my restaurants, keep them going here in College Park. So we've been kind of having fun with that. But it's been really busy. It's been a challenging several months, but we're keeping things going as best we can.
All right, now before we get into the interview, I want to tell you guys a quick story about Patrick. Everyone on the show knows that my wife Mel owns a fitness studio, Posh Cycling and Fitness, Posh.fit. Make sure you check it out. But honestly, I don't know if the studio would exist without Patrick. For years, Mel had been telling me she wants to open a studio, and I was like, let's do it. But she'd never felt confident enough to actually get started. Then one day she got inspired and decided she was going to send an email to the mayor of College Park just to tell him her idea and see if there was any financial help or anything like that. And let me tell you, Patrick responded almost immediately and set up a meeting for her with him, the city business manager, and the guy in charge of grants, right? And they basically ended up pitching her to open her studio in the city. I'm telling you, Mel walked away completely inspired. And from then on, I saw a fire in her that just didn't stop. And of course, the rest is history because Posh Cycling and Fitness is right here in the city of College Park. And I know I've thanked you before, but we definitely appreciated your support with that.
And you might be too modest to say this, but Posh last year was for the first time we decided to declare to designate a small business of the year, and Posh for the first time was our inaugural for 2019 small business of the year for College Park. So Posh has given back to the community in countless ways. It's a great business. I've had a chance to take a couple of classes there. I did a boxing class. It was a lot of fun.
He did. That video, I should have put it in. I should have added to the show. I forgot about that. All right. Now, can you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself, how you got started in politics, and also what was the value you saw in getting specifically into local politics?
Yeah. So my husband and I moved to College Park in 2003, and I right away wanted to get involved in the community. I had been involved in LGBTQ civil rights movement in different ways throughout my time at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where I went to undergrad. And then when I moved out to after finishing law school, moved out to Maryland, wanted to get involved locally in activism, and we. Dave and I became one of the plaintiff couples in the marriage equality lawsuit for the state of Maryland. That was a lawsuit that unfortunately we lost, but then we went on to, as everyone probably knows, we lost that battle. We won the war. Ultimately, Maryland approved marriage equality in 2012 by being one of the first states in the country to win at the ballot box for equal marriage rights for same-sex couples. And while I was doing that, I wanted to raise awareness. We were in the media a lot, raise awareness here in the city of College Park. I tried to get a resolution passed through the city council to support the effort, the lawsuit. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful, but by doing that, I got to know our local civic association. I got to know the people who were on the city council at that time. And in 2007, there came a couple of vacancies open on our city council, so I decided to run. I also, one of the reasons why we moved to College Park was we really saw a lot of potential for College Park to be a great university community. Having gone to school at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, I love that the atmosphere that a university creates, and that was one of the reasons why we chose College Park as our home. But we saw potential that wasn't realized because there was a lot of tension at the time between the city and the university. The community is also a bedroom community for Washington D.C. So it didn't quite have the link that we have between the city and the university. One of my goals is really to leverage the resources and the benefit of having a university here. To make College Park a top-tier university community, to really bring the exciting and quirky small businesses that often come with universities, the commercial districts, the variety of restaurants, and all the amenities like great places to walk and bike, great parks. To me, you asked why local politics are important, and I think local politics are really where so many things that are decided on a day-to-day basis that impact our lives, those decisions are made. So I think local government is really, it's exciting to be part of. You have a direct contact between us as elected officials and the residents that we serve. I talk to my residents in the grocery store all the time, my constituents, which I love. I get to hear from them all the time. So it's fun and I enjoy it.
And do you have any aspirations beyond mayor, like maybe president, like Buttigieg? Maybe jump straight from mayor to right to president. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a few steps that I would have to go in between them there, but I am thinking about what I might do next. I've been mayor. This is now my third term as mayor. And as much as I love the local level of government, I do think a lot of my passions are in things like sustainability and civil rights, and those are things that I think I could have even more of a make more of a difference on the state level or on the county level. So I'm looking at those options.
Okay, and before I'm going to turn things over to my co-host, but let's talk about national politics. What are your thoughts on Trump? Biden right now. Oh, and I have a video of you that I'd like to share.
All right, here I am about to drop my ballot off. Here to vote in the 2020 elections, 2020 presidential election. I'm here with a bunch of mayors all over Prince George's County. Drop my ballot in.
And can you also talk about your thoughts on Trump claiming widespread voter fraud?
Well, there's no evidence of that. Clearly, I think he's preparing for his loss if he does lose, and you can.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's pretty apparent where my political beliefs lie. But if he does lose, then I think he's preparing to be able to blame it on something else. He won't let his ego admit that he's lost because of anything that he's done. So he has to find other things to blame it on. Like he's gonna throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks if he claims voter fraud or emails, Hunter's emails or something like that. He's going to say everything is to blame for his loss except for himself.
Yeah. Let me turn things over to Rob B real quick. Oh, and by the way, just before he jumps in, just to let you know, this show is very anti-Trump, so don't worry about that. We are openly anti-Trump.
We are.
I couldn't tell.
We're not anti-Republican or we're very bipartisan. We're just anti-Trump. All right.
I think that's a fair statement.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Rob B.
No worries. First off, Patrick, kudos on your green transportation and infrastructure projects, your support of the LGBT community and involvement in all kinds of social projects in your community. Wonderful altruistic endeavors and to be commended. So kudos.
Thank you.
I am very curious what some of your biggest challenges have been in running the day-to-day operations of College Park, given the inconsistent messaging from federal, state, and local authorities vis-a-vis the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, that's been a real challenge because I talked about the students coming back in the fall, and we've been very, very forthright that this is not a year like any other. It can't be a year like any other here in College Park. The types of parties and large gatherings that we typically see in the fall when the students come back just couldn't happen, as they could become super spreader events. And we've been reinforcing that message constantly and reinforcing the need to wear masks, the need to not gather or have people crowd into bars like they usually do, the need to social distance, and for the most part, the students have gotten that. The students have been great. But when we have people on the national level, when we have our president even saying things like masks, he doesn't understand why masks are important, or this is just going to go away. We don't need to worry about this virus. The virus isn't that serious. That really sends a conflicting message to the people that we really need to be able to cooperate with us and work together with us to prevent this from being any worse than it already has been.
Yeah. Lizzie?
So I want to ask, this week, we all know that even though it's not a very popular nomination, we know that Amy Coney Barrett is probably 99% is going to be confirmed as the next Supreme Court justice. And she has consistently been evasive on LGBTQ issues, rights, gay marriage. So does that make you nervous? Like, what is your initial reaction to having her as our next Supreme Court judge?
It does make me very nervous, and the majority in all the cases like Obergefell and Windsor, all those cases have been decided very closely on a 5-4 or 6-3 basis. And to have now we had this administration has put 3 new justices on the court that could really threaten LGBTQ equality. Amy Coney Barrett is known as a being very conservative, as having religious views that may not allow her to recognize LGBTQ equality. So that is very concerning to me, and I hope that precedent will hold, that the powerful decisions that have come out in the last few years that they remain in place. But I am very concerned about my own relationship with my husband, about our legal relationship, about the legal relationship and the rights of LGBTQ people all over the country.
Robbie, you had a similar. Oh, good.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do have a question to kind of follow up with that. Very recently, Pope Francis came forward and recognized civil unions, same-sex civil unions. Now, I know that Amy, just a staunch Catholic, and let's be honest, her personal views are impacted by her religious views. So now the pontiff, the higher order, has said, hey, rule change, we're okay with this. So I'm just curious if you believe that there are going to be some deep ramifications just as far as the American psyche is concerned when it comes to the religious right, when we're dealing with a large number of Catholics in the US.
Yeah, let me just say, I think what Pope Francis did was a big step, but it's only in some ways, but it's also not full legal marriage equality. He's suggesting civil unions. I think it's important that there is a separation of church and state, and there are many religions in our country that fully embrace and accept equal marriage rights for same-sex couples. My husband and I, my husband was raised Catholic, and we attend a Catholic mass. It's an organization called Dignity Washington, which is a Catholic mass that accepts and embraces full equality of the personhood of the LGBT community, and as a result is not officially recognized by the Catholic Church. But we were married in a Catholic in a ceremony through Dignity, and it's important that our government recognize that there are many religions that do fully embrace equal marriage rights. So what Pope Francis said, he doesn't recognize the diversity of religious beliefs even within the Catholic Church, because there are many Catholics who believe that same-sex couples are fully sanctioned under God. So it's a step, but it's not going all the way there. I am also concerned that I'm not sure that Amy Coney Barrett, based on her membership in, I'm blanking on the name of the organization, but the organization that had they used to call them handmaidens. That is a conservative. She seems to veer more towards a conservative.
I'd never heard that before.
The handmaidens, like the Handmaid's Tale. It's the Pilgrims of Christ or something like that.
Oh, really?
I'm getting it
going to
wrong.
look that up. Look it up right now.
But her views have tended to veer more towards the conservative Catholic doctrine. So whether she, first of all, I mean, I'm not sure that what the Pope says should influence what she's doing. It should be more influenced by the separation of church and state, in my opinion. But I'm not sure that she would necessarily even follow what the Pope is saying on that issue.
Did you have a follow-up question, Lizzie? I have a similar
I was just
question.
going to ask, so in terms of, we already talked, mentioned briefly small businesses and how they have been affected by the pandemic, but then also the university in College Park, University of Maryland, and how that's affected not only the university itself, but the community surrounding the university. But what other issues have you seen hit College Park hard over the past, 7, almost 8 months now?
Yeah, well, clearly the issue of race and equity has been highlighted by George Floyd's death and Breonna Taylor's death, and we were even before those things happened, we were focusing more and more on race and equity in College Park. We have participated in the last year with the Government Alliance on Race and Equity and the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments on a cohort looking at our policies and our practices as a city and making sure that we infuse racial equity as a primary consideration in everything that we do. Since the George Floyd's death and since the Black Lives Matter movement became more prominent, once again reminded about how bias is inherent in the way that we police our communities in the United States. We have been working to take steps to address that. College Park doesn't have a police force. I should start by saying, but we work with the county police, the University of Maryland Police Department, and we actually are very heavily police as a community. So we've been engaging since then with the various communities that do serve College Park, looking at their policies on use of force, and what they're doing in response to how they're being held accountable in response to things that have happened recently.
How did College Park look over the summer in the midst of all of this social unrest, if you will, especially in DC, where there were a lot of protests, there was a lot of social activism? Were there protests in College Park? Is there, even though you don't have a specific police department, was there still a cry for defund whatever policing or law enforcement that you have?
Yeah. So I attended a protest that we had. I wouldn't say it was huge, but it was a good showing from our community. Since most of the students had left College Park, I think if the students had
I think
been
it would have
around,
been bigger if the students were here, though.
Yeah.
right. But we had a good turnout we were out on Baltimore Avenue, Route 1, right by the university, holding signs as people were driving by. And I held a sign that said "Justice for George Floyd," and it was great to get everybody together and to just come together in a common cause. We also had a vigil at one of our local churches for Black Lives. I got together with a number of interfaith members of various denominations, religions around the community, and we held a day-long interfaith online vigil for Black Lives Matter. So we've had a couple of we wanted to respond as a community and bring the community to get together to show support for Black lives, and did that in several different ways.
Yeah. So I want to take this a little more nationally. So the similar question, because police brutality has been around since before the Jim Crow era, so it's been around forever. But and I know you did a lot to bring light to Black Lives Matter. You know, you passed a resolution, stating that Black Lives Matter. But there's a lot of people that believe the Democratic Party has failed Black people. What do you think? And what do you think the party can do to change the minds of people that feel like that?
Well, I certainly think there is more that the Democratic Party can do. And I think there will be a big test if the Democrats win the White House and win the Senate and the House, that then I think we'll have a limited amount of time to really be able to address racial equity in the country, and they will have to take bold steps to do that, to reinstill and restore the faith that I can't speak as a Black person, obviously, but I think there have been.
I mean,
I think there. From what I've seen, I think there certainly have been challenges in that relationship, and I think to restore, there will have to be bold steps to restore and maintain that relationship.
Okay, but
I think.
So what does that look like to you? I mean, what do you think that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, in 2016, I think one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton lost was because a lot of Black and brown folks were disenchanted with the Democratic Party, and I think what that looks like for now people, I think probably more because of Donald Trump's actions, more people will be turning out to vote because Donald Trump has proven himself so problematic. We knew it in 2016, but I think it's even more glaringly obvious now that his policies have been so bad towards the Black community, and with COVID-19 in particular, and the health disparities, and not recognizing or acknowledging how much more Black and brown people have been impacted by COVID-19. Then that could be a place where the Democrats start. I think really working to address disparities in health outcomes for Black and brown people. disparity, the what huge wealth gap that black people face in our country. The disparities in education. Of course, there's a criminal justice system. I mean, there are so many different things that have gone unaddressed that I think the Democrats could really work to finally address in the next couple of years.
I see some questions online. I'm going to bring Gianni in real quick. Gianni, any questions online?
Hey, everybody. Yes. So, Mayor, the Jacqueline Robinson asks, has there been pressure on the university's athletic department to put up their sports program, particularly from the parents of students who have athletic scholarship?
I think he might have missed the first part. Could you repeat that?
Okay. Has there been pressure on the university's athletic department to fully start up their sports program?
Has there been pressure on
from
the?
Jacqueline Robinson.
You got it. Okay.
I would say I don't know for sure. I mean, I don't work for the university, so it's hard for me to say exactly. But I do think there has been some pressure. There are some student athletes that want to be able to play their sports. There has been, I think, famously, there's been pressure. Donald Trump actually put pressure on the Big Ten schools to start up football again, and that is why this weekend, as a matter of fact, the Big Ten Conference started up games again. This is a big concern for us in the community. I actually joined my other several other Big Ten mayors in a letter to the Big Ten Conference asking them to keep in mind the impact that games will have on the community and to keep a close watch on positivity rates and set metrics that are based on data and science about what point it will be so dangerous, so risky to play football games, not just because of the games themselves, but all the celebrations, the partying, the tailgates that happen around the games. At what point will it be so dangerous that they should stop the games from happening?
Gianni, see any other comments online? Okay. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Very quickly, Mayor, I apologize because I had my head down during your comment. I forgot, I'm a veteran sports journalist in addition to a professor, but I completely forgot that Maryland switched to the Big Ten from the ACC. And so when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, God, here we go. This crazy conference alignment. So I'm still trying to catch up to all of that.
Were there any other comments, Gianni?
Yes, there's a comment from Daria Winter. She says, "No, the party has not failed the Black community. What is done on the local level? Black members of the Black Party are involved in getting Black people elected at the local level to be represented in party politics. Support Black candidates for party offices. For example, how many Blacks are in party offices in Maryland?"
Do you know that?
I don't know the answer to that. I will say I'm in Prince George's County, and Prince George's County is a majority African American county, so my perspective and what I deal with here on a day-to-day basis is I'm not sure reflective in terms of local politics. There's strong local African American leadership here in the county that hasn't been reflected as well on the state level. Just that we've never had a Black governor in Maryland, for example, which is really astounding given
I didn't actually know
given
that.
given the high Black population here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So I learned two things today: that College Park does not have its own police department, and that Maryland, as a state, has never had a Black governor. Interesting.
Yeah, that's something I didn't actually know. We only have a couple more minutes. Did anyone have a burning question they wanted to get in? If not, I have one.
Go for it.
Okay, great.
Go for it.
So, Patrick, when you ran in 2019, there was a candidate. Her name was Lazarliani.
She goes by Zari. Yes, Zari Malsama.
Okay, thank you for saying that for me. who had some very homophobic remarks during the debate, claiming she was compelled to run because of your goal to make the city LGBTQ friendly, and it was totally against her Christian beliefs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and how did it make you feel? Also, another question I had before you say that, I look at a lot of articles and I see you referred to as the openly gay mayor. How does that make you feel when you see that?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I feel like if every time I looked at the papers and I saw the black mayor Antonio or Neo,
Or
sorry,
even
the black mayor Neo,
or
I
even
would,
the
I would be offended.
open sexual mayor. Like that just I don't know. I don't need to identify as such. But like Neo said, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I don't want to be, known as the gay mayor. I want to be known as the mayor who's doing good things for College Park, who happens to be gay. So
Right.
that's not what I start with when I talk about what I want to do in College Park. It never has been. When Zari, Ms. Mosama, we met. She's been involved in the community and neighborhood watch and things like that for various years, and she was one of the people that I met with when I was first thinking about running for mayor in 2015. We had a time. She told me right off there that she, things like she didn't believe in my sexual orientation, whatever that means. She doesn't. She said right then and there that she would start running against me. And she tried for the first time in 2015 to run. She didn't get enough signatures to get her name on the ballot at that point. And then she ran in 2017 and ran again in 2019. I think she's going to run it and keep on running until as long as I'm on the ballot, she's going to be on the ballot as well. And it is what it is. The city of the residents of College Park do not agree with her that it's a bad thing to have a gay mayor, and that it's a bad thing to promote to be a welcoming community, to promote equal rights for the LGBT community. So she's never going to make much of a difference. But it is distressing to me that her message keeps on getting out there, that she has that platform to speak from. But I'm glad that, and it always hardens me to know that the residents of College Park don't buy into it.
All right. I think that's it for the questions we have for you today. Is it? Anything else, Rob? I'm gonna bring Gianni and just see if we have any comments.
I have a curiosity question, Patrick. I know that during that town hall, or during the discussion when she was making her homophobic remarks from the articles, that approximately half of the people either turned their backs to her or left. How did that resound with you?
Yeah, well, it was heartening to me that people in our community aren't putting up with that. They don't think it's appropriate for her to talk in that sort of hateful way. So I was heartened by that, and a lot of people came up to me afterwards, and even though I kind of knew what to expect just because I knew her and knew what she was about, they wanted to reach out to me and say, that they felt that was inappropriate. So that was heartening and encouraging for me.
All right, Johnny, let's see if we get some comments from online real quick.
Sure. Mike Winter says Maryland has a large rural component. The fight between urban areas, the Eastern Shore, and the western part of Maryland for limited state resources is real.
All right.
I don't know if we got all of that.
Yeah, I
Did we
think
get
we're
all
gonna. Let's come back to you. Let's see if we can fix that internet connection, Gianni. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll come back to you. But I do see, I see Mel Blaine says, Patrick has been super supportive throughout the business journey. I'm forever grateful. Thanks, Patrick Wojahn. Let's see, Rupka says, I made it. Oh, Mel Blaine also said, Zari has said a lot of crazy things while running. Jeanette Brown says, can Patrick talk more about the path toward politics? Need to get more diverse voices running for real change. How to get a more diverse group of people thinking they should run for mayor or other offices. If you can make that real quick, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a good question. Real quick, I'd say just figure out how to do it. If you want to do it, do it. I mean, there are, and I know that women, people of color, are often don't run because they aren't asked to run, and I think if you've ever thought about it, look into ways to do it. Meet with people, talk with people that are in those roles right now. Find mentors, and just do it.
Okay, awesome. All right, Patrick. So thank you for joining us. Fantastic interview, but you are going to stick
Yes.
around. Or wait, before we go, I do want to do show one last video, because one thing we do is we do enjoy our shenanigans. So so on this on Twitter.
Get it, Mayor.
So, sorry, before we finish the interview, I had to share the moves.
This is what virtual conferencing is all about. There was a guy who tried to teach us the guy. It's a Twitter guy who does the like the history of dance in like 5 minutes, and he goes through all these different dances, and you can try and do it along with him. And that was my sad attempt.
So for those listening on the podcast, you'll have to go and watch our clips, because you can see Patrick doing his shimmies. Great moves, Patrick. All right. Thanks again for joining us, Patrick. Again, don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly, okay?
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Good stuff from the Mayor. Good stuff from the Mayor.
Great interview. Ran a little longer than I thought. I was looked down the time and I'm like, oh, we're way behind. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to our hot topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
The way hot topics works is one of our hosts will start us out, and they will let you know if their topic is a truth, lie, or shenanigans. They'll tell you what's going on in the world, and then we'll talk about it until we see our friend Gingy. Gingy will let us know when time is up, and we'll bring in Gianni. Let's see if our internet's a little bit better. Let's hope. To share your questions and comments. Gianni, still there?
Is it good? Yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me well?
We can hear you. We can't see you. We'll work it out.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll share your comments and we'll talk a little bit more. So make sure you're talking online to us and we'll get those comments out. Once we're done, we're going to the next host and the next topic. And remember, so let's go. So we're going to start out with Liz E. Is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans? I know we're talking Trump.
Once again, it's mostly truth, but a lot of shenanigans surrounding that truth. So my topic is talking about the final presidential debate of 2020, which happened on Thursday. And in case you missed it, Truth, Lies, Shenanigans, we live streamed it. We had a nice drinking game going on. And as usual, I'm a pro. So even though there were a lot of shenanigans, a lot of prompts for me to take a shot, I came out. I'm not sure everyone else can.
I'm sure you can handle all that liquor.
The Finns taught me well. But throughout the show, a couple of things emerged. One, that, this was the second presidential debate. We didn't have three because initially Donald Trump was not about having a virtual debate. He did not want to, have someone in charge of whether or not he would be heard or in charge of a mute button. But in the end, we had this second debate. It was on Thursday. There was a moderator, Kristen Welker, who I thought did very well in terms of moderating, especially the challenges that the previous two moderators had. But let me just get some feedback from my co-host very quickly.
All right, well, let me bring in our fourth co-host.
Oh yes.
Patrick, you're back.
Hey, it's Patrick.
You can weigh in also, Mr. Mayor. Like, what did you guys take from this particular debate? The final presidential debate of 2020.
Start with Rob B.
Well, it was a much more subdued Trump. I don't know if that's a result of the meds that he's under, or if it was
The
the
meds.
first debate was a result of the super meds they gave him to fight off his positive. But
Steroids.
yeah, you're right. There was something up, but it was much more subdued. I did appreciate how the moderator went at it. Joe was very calm and composed. He didn't let himself get dragged into any of the emotional hooks that Trump was trying to drop on him.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
you might got a few in there.
maybe a few, but he didn't tell him to shut up on national TV. So props.
But there were a lot of come on, man. Come on, man.
I would dread sitting across from him and Kamala. Just especially if you're just touting some nonsense. Just really.
So my initial thoughts is I thought it was actually a really good debate. I enjoyed watching this debate. It wasn't a lot of, the moderator was fantastic, but there wasn't a whole lot of back and forth, and there were a lot of zingers in there. I mean, a lot of zingers. We showed the one where the Abraham Lincoln one earlier and talking about racial. There was a lot back and forth. I mean, both of them did pretty well. I mean, of course, Trump was lying most of the time, and we saw some lies from Biden, but I thought it was actually a really quality debate. I enjoyed it.
Mr. Mayor?
Sure. So I actually didn't watch the first hour, to be honest. I decided I had a long day at work, and I decided to go for a run. But I will say, for what I did catch, I agree that Kristen Welker was really the star. She did great. She managed to keep Trump in line without being overly having too much of a presence there. Because as a moderator, I think it's important that she let them talk. So she let them talk, but didn't let them get out of hand, particularly Trump. I do think it was very substantive. I think the reason why I decided not to watch it, but I had to tune in at the end. I was nervous. I was to me, the only thing I am concerned about. I'm not going to say that it's in the bag for Biden. But I think that the worst thing that could possibly happen is Biden's going to say something that's going to be that's going to screw things up. And I was nervous about that. And part of me was like, I just can't watch this because I'm going to be panicked every time that Biden says anything that could be misconstrued or
I was worried about that too.
But I think it seemed like he did a great job, and all the everything that came out after it said that it was really not going to change the course of the election so far, which I think is going in Biden's way. So,
And Patrick, that was one of my concerns over the summer, because Biden, has this penchant for tripping up over his words as well, or not saying the right thing or the appropriate thing. And so all summer I kept saying to people, just put a muzzle on him. Shh. Let Trump do what he does, and you just lay in the cut and show the difference between you and him. So I'm glad that they've been able to kind of get Biden on track with that. Yeah. Because again, over the summer, I was a bit worried when he was saying some of that crazy stuff.
Like what?
You ain't really black if you don't vote for me. That's not going to cut it. And I know he probably said it in jest or wasn't really aware of the impact that statement would make, but it set me off immediately. And you and I talked about it. I said they need to shut him up. They need to shut him up.
And I ultimately agreed with you.
Yeah. Sometimes it's time to put him back in the basement and let him stay down there. No.
Give him some orange juice and let him go.
I would have been fine if he just stayed in the basement. That would have been great. Because, I mean, he didn't have to do much to beat Trump. I mean, Trump's beating himself. I love the ad that they did where it was like a 10-second ad, and all it was a clip of Trump, and he said, I approve this message, where Trump was saying, if I lose, I'm going to leave the country. And Biden's like, I approve this message.
Or Trump saying things like Joe Biden wants to listen to Dr. Fauci, and then Biden just responded on Twitter with yes.
Perfect.
Perfect advertising for Biden. I mean, of course he does. He wants to listen to science. Yeah.
All you need. It's all you need. All right, Lizzie.
Trump made a lot of inflammatory statements during the debate. We talked about the first one, in which he said that he's the least racist person in this room, which we all know is false. But then when the question turned to immigration and the fact that there are over 500 immigrant children who have not been reunited with their parents, who have not seen their parents for months, in which we don't know where their parents are. Trump was very not only evasive about the topic, but he deflected a lot. And he tried to pretty it up a little bit, even going as far as saying they're doing very well. They've never been better in the conditions that they've been living in. He talked about the cages, and instead of addressing the fact that they've been in poor conditions in these cages, he went and blamed it on the Obama administration and Biden and said, you guys invented the cages first, so you can't call us out on anything. So my question to the panel again, what was your response to that? Were you shocked? Were you angry? Like, how did that make you feel? And do you think there are a lot of Americans that agree with him on those subjects? Like, they don't care that these kids have not seen their parents at this point over a year.
Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border, at least 4,000 kids. You've since reversed your zero tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So how will these families ever be reunited? Plan to reunite the kids?
Yes, we're working on it we're trying very hard. But a lot of these kids come out without the parents. They come over through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
These 500 plus kids came with parents. They separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with. Big, real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot, it's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents were with them. They got separated from their parents. And it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
And let me just go very quickly to Trump's exact statement about these kids who have not seen their parents, some of them in over a year. They are so well taken care of. They're in facilities that were so clean, which again is a lot.
We'll start with Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be shocked at anything that Trump says anymore, but that's just horrifying to say that. Oh, it's okay. They're clean facilities. I used to work in legal services for a number of years, and I represented adults with mental illness in the mental health system in Washington D.C. And a number of my clients were at St. Elizabeth's Hospital, which has a long and troubled history. And I mean, you go into the wards where people were being held. And sure, they were clean. They smelled of all kinds of cleaning fluids and cleaning solutions. They smelled sterile. That doesn't mean it's a way that anybody wants to be able to live or should live. And when you're talking about kids being separated from their parents, I mean, who cares if they're in clean facilities?
Yeah,
they're still being separated from their parents, right? And then for him to demonize them and talk about kids being brought up by, like, he suggests that they're all drug lords or something like that. I mean, it's demonizing immigrants. These are people who have fled violent situations and are just trying to look for a way to make a new life for themselves. And now they're being kept in cages, being kept in refugee camps outside of our borders. The number of asylees and refugees that we've let in is just plummeted. So now these people aren't just going away. They're still around, and they're still trying to find a life for themselves. It's just that we're leaving them in worse conditions than in many cases, even in the ones that they fled.
You know what the comment reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, slaves great. It's just the mentality is so off. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But Neo, if left up to Trump, we still wouldn't get the reality of what those situations were during slavery because he wants to
The
eliminate
history.
that,
Yep.
the history from the course curriculum in American public schools. So none of that matters to him. And like Patrick said or alluded to, we're talking about kids who have been separated from their parents, but again, who are also in cages. There's nothing good or clean about being in a cage as a human. And to have the President of the United States of America take this stance is very telling, and it should alarm every single person, not just in this country, but across the world.
Robbie, you want to get a quick comment in?
Yeah, no, I agree with the panel that Trump used a lot of xenophobic language, coyotes, cartels, gangs. It's meant to demonize and to instill fear. He touted that these children were in these facilities, but at the end of the day, these are facilities where children have been removed from their parents. And the fact that they cannot find the parents, they cannot locate them, demonstrates how broken the process is. And he was flippant about it because I can't imagine a greater trauma for a child to be leaving your home to begin with because of horrible conditions. It's a matter of life and death. If you're picking up and leaving with whatever you can carry, it's a matter of life and death. And to be greeted with this scenario, there is no opportunity, there is no amnesty. And I agree with Biden that it's a really terrible look for America. It's shameful.
Now, Patrick, you tried to make it possible for undocumented, I believe, undocumented residents to be able to vote.
Yeah, for all non-citizens. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your thought process with that?
Yeah, well, I talk to a lot of residents of College Park, and obviously on a pretty regular basis, and a lot of the residents of College Park are non-citizens. It's a very diverse community here and a growing immigrant population. And there are people that have been in our community for years or even decades, who pay taxes, who own homes, who contribute to the community in a variety of different ways, but still aren't able to participate fully in the community because they haven't obtained citizenship yet. And that to me, citizenship the rules for citizenship are set up on the federal level. Our citizenship system is broken right now in so many ways. But how much you're a part of the community should not depend on
And this is for
whether
local
you're a
election,
citizen.
right? Yeah.
Right.
All right, Lizzie, did you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, he just stresses me so much. Let's go to Brazil.
All right. So, Mayor Wojahn, that is all our hot topics. We thank you for joining us. Did you have any last words, any comments you wanted to get in?
No, thanks for having me on again. I think hopefully I see Lizzie being done with talking about Trump, and hopefully soon we won't have to talk about him anymore. He'll be dragged away, and we won't have to deal with him anymore. Fingers crossed. And everybody, please make sure you get out and vote. The background, Neo, your background, I think says it all. It's just important that everybody get out and vote.
Yes, please get out to vote. Please vote. Everyone vote. All right, we really do thank you for joining us, and we will see you. We may invite you back if that's all right.
All right, I'd love to.
Maybe immediately after the election, we'll bring you back. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. I'd love
good.
to.
All right, Patrick. Thanks again.
Thanks again.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Continue.
All right. Final hot topic. Let's try to get it in quick, Robbie.
Take us home, Robbie.
Truth, lies, shenanigans. Did we lose Robbie?
We can't hear you, brother.
Sorry about that. So this is a truth that's going up against some long-standing shenanigans. Came across this story that's just brilliant. In one of the areas of Brazil, there is a tribe called the Uruuauau. They're separated across 9 tribes, and they embrace a traditional way of life. As we know, the Amazon forests, the Amazon basin has been it's being preyed upon. Just illegal clear cutting is a big part of it. And this is an ecosystem that humanity needs. Most of our clean air is filtered through the Amazon basin. So we need to do everything we can to protect it. Now, this really neat thing about this story is that they're so far removed from technology that in order to even access the Uru-Au-Wow, you have to send them an email, which they get over radio Wi-Fi. It's printed in the one office where they have it, and then the print is brought to the local leaders to see if you are granted permission to come and see it. Now, so in July of 2020, the Brazilian government cut funding to the space agency that monitors the deforestation. And now the World Wildlife Federation has stepped up, and an NGO out of Brazil, Canon Ethno Environmental Defense Association, and they're giving the Uru-Au-Wow these high-tech drones so that they can get real-time information that they can report back to the authorities for illegal cutting, for illegal forestry. They can capture them on film, send these images. So they're now the front line to keeping our world air supply, our clean water, future discoveries in medicine. And I know that we're really running short on time. And I guess for me, it's just stunning that it's being done by an NPO and an NGO, and that the world governments are the ones that are cutting this, the funding. So why do you think that funding is being cut in the first place?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The mighty dollar.
Are you familiar with the term or the acronym, Rob? CREAM?
Yes, I am.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill.
Dollar bills, y'all.
That's what it's all about. I think the one thing that makes me sad about this whole story is that you don't really think about indigenous communities that are purposely trying to be off the grid using drones, using email. Like, left up to their own devices, they probably don't want anything to do with this technology,
right.
but they need it in order to survive,
To save their environment.
in order to pose an affront to everyone in the Western world who is trying to destroy their way of life, their agriculture. And so that's one of the things that, in addition to the bigger, the story that you told here with this article, the bigger picture here makes me sad. It's just like, why can't we leave these people alone?
Right.
They're not bothering us. Why are we bothering them? Of course, I know why we're bothering them, but that's what makes it so sad, so very sad.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen, and I guess I'm being a bit hypocritical here and contradicting myself, but I would have loved to have seen their first reaction to the drones in the sky, trying to learn how to use the drone. Like, they must have been like, "What in the hell is this?" I'm sure a lot of pushback. They probably thought that they were being spied upon, or that it was, a weapon, if you will, because it's just not a part of their daily life at all. And it really makes me sad. Like, even the fact that, I'm happy that they're getting the equipment to maybe better protect themselves, but it makes me really sad that we have to even impose ourselves on them in this way, in order for them to protect themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely all about money. I mean, they're deforesting the rainforests just so that they can build agriculture, mining, etc. So it's just about money, and it's actually good to see the support. It's a shame that we can't keep them funded. It's just a shame.
We don't need more feed or cow pastures for any more Big Macs. We really don't.
Especially not me. I don't eat that mess. So,
But Liz, I love that you really highlighted the duality of it. That this tribe of people, this group of people who wants to live a traditional life, which is essentially devoid of technology, to be using high-tech drones as their first line of defense, as their only weapon against this deforestation. It's it's definitely an interesting contrast.
And it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah. Let's bring Gianni back in. Looks like she's a little smoother now. All right, Gianni. let's see if we can get some comments from the last couple of hot topics.
Sure. Okay. So Paulette Bertrand says, please don't vote with your wallet. Keep people's rights in mind.
I like that one.
We also have a comment from Daria Winter, but the problem is that young people still need to be encouraged to vote. Some are still talking about not voting. Jacqueline Robinson says, they don't see these babies as human beings. They already started to use dehumanizing language to describe them early on. That made it more, that made it more palatable to violate their most basic human rights.
I've been reading those for like every time. It's sometimes hard to read them because the flow of the comment.
Goes fast. And then lastly, there's another one from Josie. She said, I would like to see dear son Baron in a cage for a day. Tell us how awesome that is.
Oh, the son?
I have to disagree with that. One, Barron is a teenager. Two, Barron is on the spectrum. Three, Barron doesn't live with his parents at the White House. He lives with his grandparents in Maryland. Barron isn't like the other Trump kids. He hasn't done anything yet. And honestly, I think Barron, who doesn't really know his father, like there is no, if you look at the way they interact, there is no acknowledgement between father and son and father. I think Barron might be the only bright hope in that entire Trump family because he doesn't seem to be aware of the evil that is going on around him. So like I said in the last hashtag a couple of weeks ago, free Barron Trump. Free Barron Trump.
I like Jose's last comment. Also, when are you guys moving off grid? She says, Robbie.
ASAP, baby.
Wait, you can't go off grid? Wait a minute. Then you can't. You won't be here.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm off grid in my apartment because I haven't left my damn apartment in months and months and months. Only person I socialize with that I have seen in person over the past 7 months really has been our former host Jam for like 5 minutes.
That's right.
One of our hosts next week, Avi, for like an hour, and then Mike Winter, who is my Bama bestie who lives around the corner, and we kind of meet up maybe once a week. Other than that, I haven't seen anyone. I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't been on the metro. I haven't been in a cab. I haven't been to restaurants. So I'm off the grid. Like I'm off the grid. 100%.
All right. All right. So that's it for our hot topics. We're gonna run right into the game show and call it a day.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
Let's do Sarah, Johnny. Whoop, whoop. Do it for your girl. Let's do it for your girl.
I'm excited.
All right. So let me make sure I pull it up. So today's game is called Ask. And the way it works is the app will show you a question and we'll ask the question. And we'll do it round robin style. We'll start with Lizzie. Then we'll go to Rob, then myself. And you just give an answer as fast as you can. And then Gianni will be actually judging each round, telling us who.
So is this ask in standard English or ask in Black English?
Black English. I'm going with ask. My mama made sure I pronounced ask every time I ever said X. All right. So we're all set. You ready? Ready, Gianni? Do you have the scoreboard? If you don't, I got it.
Can you pull it up? I'm having
I got you.
trouble.
No problem. I got the scoreboard. All right. Are we ready? So let's go. Lizzie, the best time to have sex is?
First thing in the morning.
First thing.
First thing in the morning.
All right.
Wake up, roll over, boom, hit it.
Well, it's like that. All right, Rob D. On the top.
It's
or
not
the
currently like that. Was like that.
Was like that. Rob B. On the top or on the bottom?
Damn. Well, hey, you know what? We'll go bottom. Sure.
Bottom.
Men are so lazy. Men are so lazy.
I could. My mom's on the stream, so I'm not saying anything.
I'm not going to answer the questions I don't have to answer. So, all right. What? This is for me. What have you always wanted to do but haven't done yet? I've always wanted to skydive, but I don't think I'll ever do it because there was a time where I wasn't scared to do it, but now I'm a little scared to do it. So I don't think I'll ever actually do it.
I've parasailed. That might be another alternative for you. I've done parasailing. And it was fun. It was invigorating.
I might do that. All right, Gianni, who's the winner of that round?
Okay. Although Lizzie's comment was exciting, I'm gonna have to go with Neo.
Yay! All right. Neo gets a point. Neo gets a point. All right, let's go. Next one. Lizzie, how would you react if a couple would invite you for a threesome?
Hell no.
Hell no. All right. That's straightforward. All right. And Rob B, you are planning a romantic evening and dinner at home. What will you do?
We'll break out some wine. We'll break out some dish. Whatever baby wants. We'll put out the feelers beforehand. Put out some candles. Maybe run a bath.
I like that. Romantic. All right. And for me, the weirdest thing that you are into is. Weirdest thing I'm into?
Is Mel watching? Is Mel B watching?
Video games? I don't know. I'm not into weird stuff, really.
Maybe we'll get Mel to answer this one on the stream.
I'm definitely gonna lose this round because I don't know any weird stuff I'm into. I'm not into. Maybe Mel. Yeah, Mel, you can post what's some weird stuff I'm into. I don't know. Because she already called me out. What did she say? She said no skydiving. So. All right. So who wins this round, Gianni?
Okay, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to give it to Lizzie.
I agree with you. Actually, I would have given it to Lizzie too.
Hell no.
This is round three. All right, this might be the final round. Let's see. Lizzie, have you ever been blindfolded? Have you ever blindfolded or tied up your partner?
No.
Never?
No.
Okay.
No. Y'all need to read Dolores Claiborne, Stephen King's Dolores Claiborne. That will change your opinion about tying up folks, about using handcuffs, the whole nine. Dolores Claiborne. Trust me.
All right. All right, Robbie, do you sometimes visualize how other people look naked?
Who doesn't? Come on.
I'm not going to comment on that because it's not my question.
Anyone who's done public speaking knows that trick. You've pictured a room full of naked people. You've done it.
All right.
One who's seen Vince Carter naked in the locker room has asked that question of themselves. So.
Oh, okay. So my question is, how often do you shave your intimate places? Okay. So it used to be relatively regularly, but in these COVID days, do I really have to answer this question?
Yes. You made this game.
Well, it might be about once a month or something like that. Maybe it's moved up to twice a month. I mean, every other month. I don't know. John made me answer the question.
You're better than that, Neo. You're better than that.
Did you maybe answer the question? Okay, Gianni, who won that round?
I think that Neo's answer was pretty funny.
Yes! Yes! Neo.
Catch up. That's what catch up.
No, because that's the end of the game right there. Lizzie, you're a loser. Loser.
No man ever said no man ever.
That was a great game. That was really fun. Thank you, Gianni. We'll bring you back for shout outs. All right. Well, it's time for shout outs. All right, Lizzie, shout outs.
First of all, shout out to the mayor. Thank you for joining us and giving us your insight and perspective on what it means to be a mayor during these trying times. But also, again, shout out to the Washington team.
Oh, did we win?
Yeah, we won.
All
we
right.
beat them Catamamas. Y'all gonna be tired and sad and making all kinds of excuses all week. We don't want to hear it.
All right, Robbie, shout outs.
Shout out to Jose. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to Gino. Thank you. It's wonderful to have the family join. And really to the audience for your participation, continued participation. Thank you so much. Patrick was absolutely wonderful on the show. Learned a lot about what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, definitely shouting out Patrick and shouting out my wife, Mel. Good to see you on the show. Gianni, shout out.
I wanted to shout out my best friend Lamina, who's also watching live with us as well.
Oh, what's your name again? Say it again.
Lamina.
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 Thanks for watching, Lamina. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, Gianni, it was great having you on the show today. Thank you for all your help. We will see you next show.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you Wednesday, Deja. Deja. I keep calling her Deja.
Johnny.
I can't get it out of my head. All right. So that is our show for today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. We hope you had a good time, maybe learned something, got something off your chest. Don't forget to find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at TLS Live Show. Make sure you're tweeting Lizzie, the Twitter tweeter. And if you missed any of today's episode, you'll be able to rewatch as soon as our show ends. Also, check out our clips online on YouTube and Facebook tomorrow for you to share them out. Remember, you can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google, Alexa, you name it. You will be able to find us somewhere. Just search or ask for the Truth Lies Shenanigans podcast, or simply go to tlsshow.com. Make sure you join our next live show on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as Avi will be rejoining the crew. And it's our first ever Halloween spectacular show. We'll all be dressed up in costume. It should be a fun show. All right? And the winner for today's show, Neo. Thank you, Deja. So the final word for today is please, again, and it'll probably be my final word for the next week. Please go out to vote. There's early voting going on right now. So you got to get out there. If you do your mail-in voting, do your mail-in voting. Whatever you have to do, just get your vote in and make sure it's not Trump. I don't care who else you vote for. It's not Trump. But vote. All right. All right, guys. I want to thank you guys for joining us. It was a fun show. Really good show. We'll see you later.
Shenanigans. Truth, lies, shenanigans, truth, lies, shenanigans.
Hey, Gary, have you voted yet?
I don't know. This year, it's such a mess. I'm sorry, how do you know my name?
Oh, Gary, I'm gonna sing now. It's in the Constitution and it's in the Bill of Rights. It's threaded through the fabric of our land. From the shores of Pensacola to the streets, every loyal citizen has come to understand. Each person gets a vote.
Every hero, every jerk.
And we have to count them all, cause that's democracy at work. We count, yes, we count. Whether in person or by mail, the process will prevail. We count, oh, we count. And with so many states and people in charge and buckets of ballots in such a large amount, it's gonna take some time to count.
But See, that's what I mean. Why would it take longer this year?
It's 2020. Name one normal thing. Exactly. And the election's no different. So we just gotta trust the process and realize that on election night, we might not know the next president yet.
And that's okay?
Well, some people might go tweet and say they know the end results and call a winner well before they should. But everyone relax. Let's be civilized adults. There's no finale till we tally it from every neighborhood. We count.
We count?
Yes, we count. We count. Every granny, every crowd.
Every hanging chad.
We count. We count. We count. We count. If it looks like a dumpster fire, don't despair. Remember this is barely paramount. It's gonna take some time to count.
Is this because of voting by mail?
Well, up to half of votes this year will be mailed in, and some states don't even start opening them until Election Day.
Gosh, it's gonna be like waiting for Christmas morning.
Well, come sit on Santa's lap.
Okay.
With more mail-ins and absentees than we've ever had before, election night might be more like election week or more. But if your Facebook is Chernobling and you feel confusion mounting, just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Chill the f*** out. Chill the f*** out. And let them do the counting. We count. We count. We count. We count. We count. Yes, we count. We count. We count.
And if it takes a while, we'll do it with a smile.
We'll count because we count.
Yes, we count.
In every town, in every state, we know what makes our country great.
And if the tally comes in late,
We won't freak out or aggravate.
we'll be the masters of our fate.
We'll have a sandwich while we wait.